Diddy's attorney Mark Agnifilo has just revealed that Diddy's life is in danger if he is sent out into gent. Diddy is desperately trying to get bail after reports came in that several prisoners are coming after him because of his abuse against minors. Former wardens and federal prosecutors have all reported that Diddy is now a target.
This isn't the only famous inmate to be housed there. We had Sam Bankman-Fried there, R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell. They were all inmates there. Sean Combs is being kept away from the general inmate population. You say his fame makes him a target.
Yeah, sure. And not necessarily at the MDC only. I mean,
anywhere.
Yes, in my humble estimation, his life, his safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit. The MDC Brooklyn is a high-rise. The vast majority of the floors are general population floors. But the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility. So this is for Mr. Combs' protection. His incredible worldwide celebrity combined with the allegations, the charges now, and indictment, of course, of acts of violence against women make him a very attractive target.
All right.
Obviously, they need to safeguard him.
This is a man accustomed to the very finest. He was arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York City, known for its luxury suites and exceptional food and wine, where one-bedroom suites start at $3,000 a night. He was probably staying in something larger. What is life like for him now at the MDC?
I would say 100% total culture shock. The MDC is, I've used the word austere a lot, but it is. It's austere, it's strict, it's impersonal, it's cold, and it is a very tough place to be detained.
Diddy's attorney Mark Agillo has described the conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, where Diddy is being held as nothing short of hell itself. In the upcoming days, Diddy is going to be transferred to G-Pop, and according to several experts, his life is in danger. After 3 failed bail attempts and a rejected offer of $50 million in exchange for house arrest, Diddy is having a mental breakdown. His attorney has announced that they will try for bail again, but if he actually gets bail remains to be seen.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready, he's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer.
Inmates from inside the prison have also talked about how Diddy is going through a tough time right now. He's not used to the cold and hard environment that prison is, and he's at his breaking point. The decision to deny Diddy's bail and keep him in federal custody until May of 2025, when the trial is supposed to be held, came after the prosecution revealed that Diddy was trying to contact witnesses from inside the prison. Interestingly, Diddy's legal team says that Diddy only wanted to talk to the witnesses and never had any intention of pressuring or harassing them.
Natasha and Steve, for the first time in his life, Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars. He's here inside MDC, where he's been since his arrest on Monday night on federal sex trafficking and other charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section. There is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins. MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad, I was here 2 years ago during a cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry. But take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course, the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's just terrible.
The inmates that you're surrounded around, just in general, a lot of them are brought up on pretty heavy federal indictments, right? So just in terms of the atmosphere there, it's just certainly one that no one wants to be in.
Combs was placed in a special housing unit and on suicide watch, the standard protocol for high-profile celebrity detainees. The disgraced mogul was denied bail by 2 separate judges. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, asked the court to transfer him to the federal detention section at the Essex County Jail, but the judge deferred to the Bureau of Prisons. Federal trial attorney Philip Hamilton says lockdown can mean a lot less time to prepare your defense.
In terms of fighting their case, it just makes it all the more difficult, because now in terms of you being able to communicate with your attorney, you are at the realms of just what's going on with respect to the facility. Is it on lockdown? Is the facility letting visitors in?
Detainees on suicide watch wear tearaway paper hospital-style garments and rubber shower shoes. The isolation may be the worst part for Combs. It's being done for his protection in the violence-prone facility. He will have no bunkie.
He's probably not going to have any contact with any other inmates. So for him, it's going to be a little different than for a person like me, where I will go in, I will go through process and intake, and then they'll assign me a cell, and I'll have a bunkie or a cellmate, and I'll be in population.
For him to be able to get out at this point, it just doesn't look good.
Interestingly, there are reports that Diddy wants to be put back on suicide watch. Inmates have to stay alone in solitary for over 23 hours when they're on suicide watch. And some prisoners even develop mental health issues as a result of this. Diddy, on the other hand, knows. What will happen if news gets out in prison that a pedophile is inside?
So breaking news right now, Larry, I am just getting word. People magazine says it's got a source on the inside that tells them that P. Diddy's on suicide watch tonight. Do your sources confer the same information? Are they saying it was possible?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest. When they called his bond hearing, now they checked him into the system, and reality has hit him. And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on suicide watch. Another error that I guess some warden told you this. There are sentenced inmates there. They're called cadre inmates. They don't have to be white collar inmates, but they're doing maintenance on the building. And the problem why there's a lot of violence there, they have housing units. And they're mixing bank robbers, drug dealers, rapists with white collar people. And this is why Diddy, he can't go into a regular housing unit because somebody will take him out for sure. Somebody's gonna get a lot of street credibility out of this. People that are doing substantial time that know they're never getting out, they'll just kill a guy, no questions asked.
You think that they'd suck up to him because he's got a lot of money, and if he ever does get the commissary options, he would be able to help them.
Some people do because
I got to wrap it real quick.
Okay, some people do think that Diddy can help them, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week, 6 Marshals to do it.
Jersey.
He's out.
Diddy's legal team offered $50 million in addition to a fully paid off house worth $70 million. His lawyers also asked Diddy to give up his passport and his family's passports. They knew that if Diddy wanted to get out, he had to give up something substantial, fortunately. For victims, Judge Aaron still denied Diddy's bail and announced that nothing could be enough to keep the victims safe from Diddy, and had Diddy stay in jail, even over the holidays. While in jail, Diddy used secure phone lines to pressure victims, all of which ended up being recorded.
Ended up being recorded.
What he did here is on a magnitude of unlike anybody else you could imagine. A week after these public searches were televised, he gave us his passport. His children gave us his passport. He then paid off the mortgage entirely on his Miami home, $18 million. It's instructive that he's going to have a bail package ready so that if he was arrested, he would have something ready so that he could get out the next day and show the judge he's taking this very seriously, which he is, which is why 12 days ago, Chris, when we thought there's an indictment that may be coming, he flew to New York the very next day. And that's an extraordinary move for a defendant who's been under investigation that he's been aware of for at least 6 months. He has done everything somebody under investigation can do. I can't think of anything else that he could have done. He's fighting, he's innocent, and he's gonna be able to show it.
What do you think about that counter argument? Because his team has said, we're gonna put together the proposed bail package. A $50 million bond, co-signed by him, his mom, his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. It's gonna be secured by the equity in his property in Miami, Florida. Home detention, his passport will be surrendered. The government said that's insufficient. They said, look at the charges, look at the weight of the evidence that I just mentioned. They said they have allegations that he and his associates were trying to tamper with witness testimony last year so that they wouldn't cooperate with the government. What do you take away about who has the stronger argument in terms of bail?
Well, I think his counsel has done the best they possibly can. I think bringing him there voluntarily is very smart, starts them out on the right foot. But I think the last thing that you just mentioned, the interfering with witnesses.
That's the allegation, yeah.
Yeah, if that's true, or I should say, if there's real indicia that happened, I think that might tip the scales in favor of not letting him out pending trial, because I think, and you know this, I think judges take an extraordinarily dim view of that, and that might be the factor that tips the scale against him. But I think as far as a tactic,
Things are heating up for Diddy inside the prison too. Allegedly, Diddy is having nervous breakdowns and is scared out of his mind. He knows he could get jumped at any time and wants to get out as soon as he can. Things aren't going great outside of prison either, which we'll get into later. For now, you should keep in mind that 3 of Diddy's biggest co-conspirators have also been named in lawsuits and could very well be joining Diddy in jail soon. There are rumors that Diddy has given up on his case and is thinking of suicide too.
According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it. This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on suicide watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's suicide watch was only temporary, though. He was housed in a special protective unit of the jail after that for the first few weeks of his stay. But Diddy right now is in Gen Pop, meaning general population, the place where majority of the inmates stay. And that's where he apparently had this meltdown over the holidays, at least according to one source.
He's suffering the consequence, and I don't feel bad for him at all. Because people was trying to talk to him. People was trying to tell him. You couldn't pull him by the coat and let him know anything. You understand? They messed up the game, brother. When he put that shit out with them, money, power, respect, it ain't never been like that. It ain't never been like that. You got your respect in the street that gave you your power, that brought you your money. Totally different thing. He let that money, power, and respect go to his head, but he had it ass backwards. So do I care what happened? Nah. He got enough money to buy his way out of this. So we think.
So when you look at that video of him pacing around and he's looking worried, and you knowing him, do you think it's possible that he might commit suicide?
When you're a narcissist, there's always a possibility because you're suffering. But I don't think that he could see himself in a cage. I don't think he could see himself behind those bars in those type of situations. It's too many real dudes that dislike him. But then again, there's a lot of real dudes that need help. And him being behind bars, he could probably help them.
There's really no deal that the U.S. Attorney's Office can offer, and it's certainly not one that Diddy will accept. It would involve decades in federal prison. We're talking about mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for both the drug charges and the sex trafficking. So we know that Diddy has fought charges before. There were state charges, there were gun-related, the nightclub shooting with J-Lo, but he's going to dig in his heels, and this case is going to trial. So if you're prosecutors, you really want to make sure that your evidence is bulletproof before you.
Things are heating up for Diddy inside the prison, too. Allegedly, Diddy is having nervous breakdowns and is scared out of his mind. He knows he could get jumped at any time and wants to get out as soon as he can. Things aren't going great outside of prison either, which we'll get into later. For now, you should keep in mind that 3 of Diddy's biggest co-conspirators have also been named in lawsuits and could very well be joining Diddy in jail soon. There are rumors that Diddy has given up on his case and is thinking of suicide too.